morning. Is it working? Okay, if y'all will bear with us, we're trying out a new recording PA system this morning. All right, here we go. September the 11th, 2017, 9 a.m. The regular scheduled Commissioners Court is called to order. We'll start with the invocation followed by the pledge. Madam Clerk, please.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, and please turn off your cell phones and pagers except for emergency personnel and law enforcement. Yep. And as the Commissioner reminds us, but I don't think we need reminding, today is the anniversary, 9/11. So be vigilant and prayerful for blessings that have come our way since that time, certainly. And thanks to all of those that stand in harm's way.
And the people in South Texas and Florida still.
I think that includes them too, yeah. Thank you, Rose. We need to go to item 16 right now because Judge Peeler has a group in his courtroom waiting. So it's discuss and take action ratifying a grant for juvenile program. This is a grant that Judge Peeler and I discussed some time ago, and I believe successful.
The governor has approved a grant for the Midland County System of Care in the amount of $121,000. There's been a mix-up, and I apologize for any misunderstanding. Apparently, we should have come before the application was made on the county's number. It's my understanding that that is what will be done in the future if we have a grant. But I'm asking the commissioners to ratify the $121,000 grant from the governor's office. It's to support the Midland County System of Care.
And I asked my colleagues to ratify it because it did show up and got pushed in the corner and honest mistake.
Is there a matching, any matching to this
No
grant?
matching funds. It's straight
There's
from the
no
governor's
matching.
office.
Make a motion to ratify.
Okay, second. Have a motion and second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. Good luck today.
All right.
All right, now we'll go back up. Item 3, discuss take action on court minutes from August 28, 2017.
Motion to approve.
Second?
Have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Receive presentation from John Mark Eccles on Field's Edge, and this is quite exciting. Good morning, John.
Good morning. How are y'all?
Morning.
Morning, John.
And this young man goes way back in his family in Midland, and had the pleasure of knowing them all, but he has what I think, and I think Commissioner Prude, who's also seen it, this may be the most promising opportunity for an improvement in the homeless situation in Midland County.
Well, my name is John Mark Eccles. I am the president and co-founder of the Field's Edge. We are a Midland-based nonprofit focused on cultivating a permanent supportive tiny house community for the homeless here in Midland. Some of our statistics here, we have about 199 homeless people per our annual count. I find that to be a little low because we can't find everybody. But I also drive the Breaking Bread mobile breakfast truck in the morning, and I serve about 100 people on the street every day. Nationally, over 50% of people are one paycheck away from becoming homeless. So this affects a lot of people and can really do a lot of damage if somebody has an emergency situation. We found in our work over the past 5 years that the root of homelessness is really the catastrophic loss of family. There can be a lot of triggers to that, whether it's loss of job, a split marriage, substance abuse, mental health issues. But at the bottom of it, it's something catastrophic that happens to someone, and then they have no support system to help them out of the situation, and so they become homeless. The current movement in the country is called Housing First. It's based on saving the taxpayers' money. It gets people off the streets from being homeless into a house or apartment, and there's some supportive services wrapped around that. What we're doing, well, here's some stats here just showing the cost savings of detox, incarceration, emergency room, and hospital stays, that getting somebody off the streets and into housing actually saves taxpayers. $17,800 over 2 years in Denver. That statistic is similar across the country. Community First is what we're interested in, and what it is the Housing First movement just further, and it's focused on relationships. The founder of this movement is in Austin at a place called Mobile Loaves and Fishes Community First Village, and he says that housing won't solve homelessness, but community will. Putting someone in a box with 4 walls and a roof doesn't solve the root issues that are causing them to become homeless. And so we actually, my wife and I, left our careers and our regular lives and moved to Austin into an RV with our 2-year-old, and spent 4 months in an internship capacity at this village to learn about what they've done and bring it back here. So what it is it's permanent supportive housing with an emphasis on relationships and giving your best first. So as you'll see in the picture here, these houses are actually the ones that were built at the community we lived at, and similar to the ones we'll build here. They are site-built, custom homes, and it's a really beautiful master planned place. This is another example of a house similar to the ones we'll build here. We'll do a design competition, and they're single occupant. Our target population are the chronically homeless. In order to qualify, they'll have to be homeless in Midland County for a year, so that we're taking care of the problem here. And they'll all have a single occupant home and live here in community, and it's a permanent home. So this is not a transitional community. We're bringing someone home for as long as they like to stay. They will pay an affordable rent that will cover approximately 60% of the cost it takes to live there, but as long as they're paying their rent and obeying civil law, they get to stay as long as they want. So what we are we're working towards a master planned, scalable, permanent, supportive tiny house community to lift the chronically homeless of Midland County off the streets and into a community. It's scalable, like I said, so we'll start with pods of 10, and as we grow and establish our reputation, we'll just continue to add groups of 10 houses up to 100 houses. We'll have a missional community, which my family will be the first family in that, meaning we'll live on site, and we're shooting for about 15 to 20% of our residents to be people that choose to live there, to be the support and backbone of the community in building those relationships. Another thing that we'll have is our micro enterprise program, along with gardens and animals, to give people sustainable and dignified income. We'll have programs such as woodworking and blacksmithing, where homeless people can come into our community, learn a trade, earn a dignified income, making something like this bottle opener here that was forged by hand by somebody who used to be homeless and sold, and he gets 100% of that profit. Here's a preliminary rendering that we had done by Park Hill Smith & Cooper here in Midland, showing how our groups of 10 houses, and then those red top roof buildings is a bathhouse. So each house is basically a bedroom, and the whole community is designed on interaction and relationships between the individuals living there, including the missional community. It's all about getting people to love each other and be good neighbors. And I think that that's something that we are interested in translating back to all of our other neighborhoods in Midland County as well. Here's a ground view of what it looks like, showing the porches facing each other, decks. There's lots of spaces designed for people to get together, to cook, to play games, to work, and to rest together. So our starting point right now, we have a tiny house model that's going to be in the Parade of Homes in October. That's a picture of the construction where it's at right now, and they're working on it as we speak. So it'll be house number 2 on the parade. And as far as land goes, we have a donor who has said that he is willing to give us 20 acres, and we're finalizing all of that right now. As far as our infrastructure planning, we'll have roads and water and other things necessary to make it a success, but that's where we're at right now. Here's a picture of the property that we're talking about here. This is Southwest Midland, West Loop 250 and the interstate, where the loop extension is. And this purple box is the acreage that we're discussing. And we're hoping that we get that sealed up here pretty quick. And that's where we're at. Any questions? Okay.
Randy, go ahead, you're quite involved.
Well, I don't know I can't tell you how excited I am about this project. It's one thing to give people fishes and help people that are in need, that are hurting. And I think a lot of us in this room, if not all of us, have been involved in that in one way or another over our lives. But to make it where people can learn how to fish, so to speak, in other words, where they're given dignity of a job, they're paid rent, they feel like real people. Whatever disasters happen in their life, as was mentioned, it's hard to recover if you just put it into a place. But if you put it into a place with a neighbor who's had a similar situation as yourself, and then you have mentors like John Mark and his family, and by the way, they're a lovely young couple. I hope y'all all get to meet them soon. He has a little daughter and a pretty wife who has another baby on the way, so it's going to be a family of 4 shortly. They, about a year or two ago, gave up. They went undercover into the homeless community here in Midland. And he learned firsthand what it's like to be homeless. As most of you know, if you walk past somebody who's begging or has their hand out, you have various reactions. You know, one of them is fear. One of them is this a con, or why won't they act right? But then most people end up just giving because they say that could be me, you know, and I would want somebody to help me. When he went undercover, he found the most interesting thing was in this community of people that his friends walked past him, not knowing it was him undercover, and with no facial recognition whatsoever, walked right past without a clue. And he said that's what happens to you when you're homeless, is your people are afraid of you. They don't want to look at you. They're afraid it'll hurt to get involved. Now, I'm talking about myself, you know, too. And so anyway, I've had the privilege of going down to look at the group in Austin, and some of you in this room have done that as well. It's pretty amazing. It's just amazing what they've done. Alamo Draft House, for example, those of you who are familiar with that, have actually donated a big old screen and an amphitheater, and people go there and fight. Now, people come from all over Austin to be part of it because it's a fun event. A lot of people drive past the place where they live, and they say, I'd like to live there. I mean, I'd like to uncomplicate my life and live in a small place and have community because, you know, anyway. I'm so excited about this, and I will say to one of the reasons I'm so proud of Midland is because everybody that has heard about this project, also, you know, the former mayors, current mayors, councilmen, people of all walks of life, including the man who wants to donate the land, have heard about it, and in my opinion, the Lord is tugging at all of our hearts to do something that matters. And so I'm excited. A friend of mine is a videographer, and is videoing this whole event from beginning to end, all the meetings that are being held. You know, it is not a known factor that this will be a success yet, so it could be, you know, but it's being videoed, and if we are successful as a community of helping our homeless people get off the street and get real lives, earn an income, then every community in the country in America is going to want to see it and hear about it. And so they'll have actually a video watching the whole thing from start to end, and a template for how they can do the same thing in their communities. So anyway, you can tell I'm excited about it, but I'm hoping at some point in the future maybe the county can use some of our assets that we have and help this with the infrastructure and be a part of the solution. So anyway, that's
Okay. Anybody else? We asked John Mark to come here mainly for public awareness because he's just starting this journey, and the folks that donated the land were the biggest obstacle, and now that's on its way, and I encourage each of you to engage him and his family in conversation. It's a very creative idea that has some dignity to it, and I know we wrestle with these issues in the downtown library and some other public places, and we've shared his vision with a couple of corporate entities in town, and now they want to meet and have a discussion, so maybe we can get all this done.
Mike, I will,
What's your funding source?
Sir?
Your funding source?
It's all private, all private. We're a faith-based organization, so we're going to be operating our faith principles and not requiring anybody to participate in those, but since that's the case, we're going to be private.
Scott, I was just going to mention about the financing. He gave, when they gave up their careers, they were living off of savings. And so we will be helping as I'm in full disclosure, I've been asked to serve on the board, and so I'm on the board. We're going to be doing things to help him raise some income so he can afford to live. But basically 100% of everything everybody gives right at this point in time goes towards the project, not towards any kind of overhead or finder's fees or whatever you want to call it. So
I wished you had brought a picture of when you were working the streets.
I'll do it again.
You know.
You want to come?
I work the streets, but in a different context.
I do also have some brochures in the back for anybody that wants more information and our website and a little more detail about what we're doing.
Yeah, very proud of you for going this way. Thanks for coming today, and the brochures have your contact information. Is
Yes,
that
sir.
correct? Okay, I encourage each of you to visit with him, and certainly through the organizations that you're involved in.
let me add one more thing. If you're out there and you're like me, kind of become cynical in your life a little bit about a lot of stuff.
Really?
You know, you've been burned a few times or whatever. One of the most interesting things that has really made me pleased with this project is every time I've thought about something, a problem, or something that might not work, or you name it, and when I asked John Mark about it, not only does he not get defensive about my questions, he's actually already talked through that with somebody important. For example, our sheriff, you know, this could be a real problem, you know, having a bunch of homeless people in an area and the things they could create. Gary had some great questions to ask about this, and John Mark had already met with him and then went back and met with him again and addressed all those issues. And I think, I won't speak for Gary, but I think Gary's pretty excited about this as well. And so if you have a question about this, you know, this and whatever, ask away. He is, I mean, I'm really impressed with you, John, and God's blessings to you.
Thank you. And if anybody else wants to get to know the homeless population of Midland, we have, like I said, I take out the Breaking Bread breakfast truck every morning, take volunteers with me, and it's a great way to get a view of what it's like here in Midland.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank y'all.
Thanks.
Thank you.
You bet. Item 5, discuss take action on Westfall Landing, Section 2, being plat of 7.63 acres out of 129.21 acres out of the west half of Section 47, Block 37, Township 1, South TMP Railroad Survey, Midland County, Texas. Commissioner Sanchez. That's you.
That's actually me.
Actually, no.
It's me.
It's Robin.
Then it's misnoted. Robin.
I would, I'll make that motion. This is, off of, 1072, and I'm hoping that it will solve the problems of a failed development that's back in that area that was put in by, an unfortunate situation because they didn't have access to that, area back there, which I hope the public watches now. So I would make the motion that we approve this, Westfall Landing, Section 2.
Is this motion for the whole thing, including roads, or just the development?
Just the development, just the platting of it.
Okay, so the motion is plating only, no road acceptance.
Right, because they haven't built the roads.
Okay,
I'll second.
have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thank you very much. Item 6 is an executive session item. Item 7, discuss take action resolution for senior lien. Kathleen, you here? There you are. Thought I saw you. and your troops. Good, nice to have y'all.
Thank you.
Please start with your name and where you live.
I'm Kathleen Kerwin-Haney, and I am from Midland, Texas, and this is our new Development Director, Tracy Renton.
Hello, Tracy. Go ahead.
All right, well, we are asking for resolution for our, sorry, I'm nervous.
It's all right.
We have written for our, sorry. Sorry,
You're
We-
wanting a resolution about,
Texas Department of Agriculture.
there you go.
Yes,
Good. And this is something we do every year for
yes,
Senior Link.
yes.
This
We
is-
need to show that we have your commitment for the county so that we can write for Texans Feeding Texans.
Yeah, this deals with some grants coming out of Department of Agriculture, which they make great use of, and feed those in need in the community, and they're very responsible and very responsive. Both. We've had occasion to call y'all on particular individuals, and you hopped right to it, so thanks. And I'm really excited because we got your name spelled right.
Yes,
Any questions of the court?
Ms. Haney, this is just specifically for home delivered meals for seniors, is that correct?
that is correct.
And is this a matching grant or is this just a grant in general, Judge?
It's a grant that has to come to Commissioners Court in the locale where it's given, so that we are aware of it. There is no matching fund.
Thank you.
Make a motion that we approve the resolution for Senior Link.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
Would your new director like
Thank
to tell
you.
us about her story?
Yeah. Help
I'd like-
yourself.
I'd like to hear it.
All right.
My name is Tracy Renton.
Go ahead and
I
Can you
am-
get to the mic, please?
My name is Tracy Renton. I am the Development Director. I've been with Senior Link for 3 months now. I come from a nonprofit background, 14 years with another organization, and
Here
when Kath-
local, here locally or somewhere else?
Yes, here locally.
Okay.
When Kathleen called and asked if I would be interested in the position for Development Director for Senior Link, it touched my heart for 2 reasons. Number one, I had the honor and privilege of delivering meals with my children over spring break when Kathleen was in need of some substitute drivers. And I found the experience very uplifting, very meaningful, and the fact that I could do it with my children made it even more precious. But the other reason it was so meaningful to me was because I still have all 4 of my grandparents living independently in their home. And I know that it is a struggle for our seniors right now trying to continue with their independence in their home. And Meals on Wheels is a perfect opportunity for us to be able to further that and make sure that we're giving them the respect and dignity they deserve.
And would you like to give a little advertisement about the Texas Size Garage Sale that's fixed to take place?
Yes, absolutely. Texas Size Garage Sale is this year, October 13th, 14th, and 15th. It's at our warehouse located on Scarborough Drive. 25,000 square foot of items that we will be using to sell in order for us to fund 1/3 of the meals that we do every year for Meals on Wheels.
Are you still taking donations for the garage sale?
Unfortunately, it's case by case at this point because our warehouse is stocked. The community has been so generous and so giving, and we have no more room. We've tried very hard to encourage the community to kind of cease and desist at this point in time, but when you have this precious little grandma that's come in with a carload of items that she's purchased from her home, it is so excruciating to turn her away. So, as I said, we're doing case by case, and Kathleen has put me in charge of that because her heart is so big she cannot turn them away.
Can't say no.
And
So take it
for
to
me,
Kathleen's house?
well, for me right now, it's that point where I get to say, oh, I'm doing everything my boss is telling me to do, so no, we can't. So I put it back on Kathleen.
I'm not allowed to answer the phone anymore. I cannot say no. We just had this Friday, and we just had this little old lady who came in and had a box full of antlers, and her daddy from World War II hunted, and during the Depression, he had collected all these antlers to, they ate dinner hunting, and she said, my dad fed us hunting. And she said, we couldn't throw these away, and would y'all take them? I can't say no. And so I said, we'll take them. And everybody looked at me like, you said no more donations. And I said, I can't answer the phone anymore. But, so I have boxes of antlers in my office. But, you know, Midland, we all know, is the most generous community. And I can't answer the phone anymore, so please, please don't call my office and ask. But Midland is the most generous community. It's true. But we wouldn't be able to do this without this community. But you know, we have amazing people in Midland. But we're ready. October 13th, 14th, and 15th, we're busting at the seams. It's going to be the most amazing year ever.
Great.
And Laura, lots of great items. I know how you are, so come see us that day. You and I'll go shopping.
Well, I have to say, Senior Link is in great hands. I have worked with Tracy for 9 years when she was with the March of Dimes and when she was their development director. And so when she left the March of Dimes to go to Senior Link, I promised her that I would follow her in my efforts. So they are very lucky to have her. She is a wonderful resource for our community.
Thank you.
So we can drop this off at Laura's house.
Yes, and I'll be over. We'll make projects. Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
thank
going to be
you.
a great year. So October 17th, we'll start restocking again, whoever's house it's going to be at, and we're ready.
Okay. Well, we're happy to sign that grant, and there you have it, a resolution.
Thank you very
to get the
much.
grant, I should say.
Thank y'all
We
for coming.
appreciate everything
We
y'all are doing.
appreciate y'all's help
Thank
very
you
much.
very
You
much.
bet. Take care.
Thank you.
You bet. All right, item 8, discuss take action on court fees for county and district clerks. Allison?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
We have the fees for August 2017 for the county clerk's office and the district clerk's office.
Okay.
I'd make a motion that we acknowledge the funds. I was glad to see that your private collections were very small. Seriously.
Okay.
Okay. Have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thank you,
Thank you.
Allison. Number 9, discuss take action on use of RSU for annual city-county training on October 3rd, 2017. Bailey?
Gentlemen, this is our annual class that we do in with the city of Midland. They are bringing in a speaker, and we generally provide the education building of the Horseshoe. This year's topic is ethics, and it is our officers are able to get TCO credit for attending. So we're offering a
the
morning in the
speaker?
session and a morning in the afternoon. I did not bring his name with me. It's someone who, this is what he does every day, all day, is go places and speak about
Okay,
ethics.
why don't you send us an email after
Okay.
court so we know who it is?
Sure.
Is this on the schedule at the Horseshoe
It
already?
is.
Okay. So you're asking us to make the donation. We, as usual, we'll do it out of the marketing account, and then we pay the duly fee if the court acts
Yes, sir.
that way. Okay?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Okay? Have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign.
Thank
Motion
you, guys.
passes. Thank you, Bailey. What time does it start?
There's 2 sessions, one in the morning and one in the afternoon, one at 8 and one starts at 1.
Okay, very good, thank you. Number 10, discuss take action authorize the county judge to sign a renewal agreement between Midland County Public Libraries, Therapy Dogs International for Dog Tales program.
Judge, commissioners,
Stuffed animals overnight, dog
I feel like
tales.
I need to take this, and that's a nice mic. The library has a therapy dog program come in. It's called Dog Tales, where the kids get to sit and read to the dogs. It's just a standard renewal for between the organizations.
I'd make the motion to authorize county judge to sign a renewal agreement.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. We're lacking the date. What's the date gonna be, John?
It's a calendar year.
Okay. So it runs all year long?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thank you. 11, discuss take action on alcohol service for Rosalind Redford Library Benefactor Award Reception, November 2nd, 2017.
This is an annual event where the library recognizes someone in the community that's made a significant impact. This year's recipient is F. Marie Hall and the FMH Foundation, and the date for that event has been set in talking with Ms. Pewitz from the FMH Foundation. Of course, Ms. Hall has unfortunately passed, but we're still going to move forward with honoring her, and that is the evening in question.
Okay.
Foundation provides the support monetarily for the food and beverage.
And it always requires a security officer, which
Yes, sir.
they arrange for. Okay. And this is from 6 to,
6:30 to 8:30, I think, Judge. The save the dates are going out. You should be
okay.
on the court. Everyone on the court should be getting invitations.
All right.
Motion to approve alcoholic service for Rosalind Redford Library Benefactor Award reception.
Okay.
Second?
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same side. Motion passes.
Did you say alcoholic?
I think you just said alcohol.
Number 12, discuss and take action on library donations, John.
All monetary, all material, no monetary. You should have backup.
Motion to acknowledge library donations.
Second. Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign.
Thank you.
Motion passes. And those that don't know, as long as we're on the theme of giving and generosity today, Mr. T went to Honduras on an escapade to help them build homes and a few other things, and it won't be surprising, they sent him back. But John, thanks for doing that. You helped a lot of people. Okay. Excuse me. Laura, I've got a note here that you wanted executive session on MOU. Yes, no?
No, we
Ah.
we did that.
Yeah, a couple
and
of
so-
weeks ago.
Right, so we just needed to agendize.
Oh, good.
Uh,
13, discuss and take action on memorandum of understanding with DPS.
That's correct. As the commissioners know, back in July, the Texas Department of Public Safety issued a mandate that we would have to start paying for blood alcohol analysis as well as narcotics analysis, and those would be per case analysis. And so when we put the numbers together, it was going to be a substantial hardship on our budget, and we were not prepared to, we weren't ready for that. And so we looked at the opportunity to be able to enter into an MOU with DPS to allow for us to have our own analysts that would be dedicated to Midland County cases, which would include Midland Police Department cases, but it would allow for us to expedite these cases. In the MOU, it says that they will analyze cases, drug alcohol, blood alcohol, within 30 days. However, I've been told by the director of the laboratory here that it will normally be 15 days on average, which will allow for us to expedite cases through the process, get them out of the jail more quickly, because right now we are still sitting at a 6-month backlog with cases at DPS. So we are asking the Commissioners Court, and I know that the sheriff stands behind me on this, that the court go ahead and allow for us to enter into this MOU with them, dedicating the analyst. The cost over 2 years it would be definitely a benefit to Midland County. And so I had previously submitted the contract to Russell. I have one little detail that we have to work out, which is start date. But other than that, we would ask the court to go ahead and allow for the county judge to sign the MOU so that we can get this going and start processing these cases.
Russell, did you get that correction satisfactory?
Yes.
Okay. All right. There you have it, your own DPS lab person.
Laura,
Yes.
if things go the way you think they will, how soon will you be able to have a preliminary report about how this is working out for us?
Part of that's going to depend on our start date, which is what I need to work out with Russell, and that will also be what I need to work. We need to have some discussions on that, but I believe that within a month
of whatever that start date is, we will be able to know how quickly, really what our turnaround time is. And so I'll be able to report back to the court. My understanding is I did speak with Bobby Bland, who is the Ector County District Attorney, and he has a dedicated analyst. And he, basically verified everything that the director of the DPS laboratory had told me as far as time and turnaround, so.
I mean, I think this is really significant, and I'd love to hear back from you, because it's got a lot of ways this is going to benefit our community.
Right. I think that one of the ways that it will really particularly benefit the county is that once we do have the drug court up and running, that as soon as we get that analysis back, we divert those people if they qualify for the court, then we divert them into the court, we get them out of the jail, and we start getting them the services that they need. And so I really think that this is a tremendously positive step in conjunction with, this thing is so big, especially for somebody who talks with their hands. For somebody, once we get the drug court up and running, this really plays in line with getting people who have substance abuse issues, getting those addressed as quickly as we possibly can when they're willing to accept responsibility.
Yeah, great, thank you. I'll make the motion to approve this memorandum of understanding with the DPS.
Second.
Motion and second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes. 14, discuss take action on contract with Texas Workforce Commission. Scott, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
This is, it's a contract that Constable Hall has had for a while. Basically, it's up this year, and we're just moving it over into the Warrant Services Division where we'll take care of it. It's the Texas Workforce Commission. It allows us to search individuals' employment, wage history. It pays for itself in the first 2 or 3 people that we do find. It's $1,500 a year is what it is. This contract is set up for 4 years with $1,500 a year.
And you have an option out, not that we'll ever need it.
No, I didn't.
I'm sorry, what was the
Do
question?
we need an option out on this?
We have a 30-day termination provision.
I've also given the contract to Mr. Baum, and he's reviewed it and looked at it for us.
I would make the motion that we approve the contract with Texas Workforce Commission.
Second. Have a motion and a second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thank you very much,
Thank you.
Scott. 15, discuss take action on notice of joint special election to be held November 7th, 2017. Deborah, since we hold the elections for all the entities, we have to call it.
Yes, sir, that's correct, and you should have that before you, both in English and Spanish. And I have also provided the court separate notifications of the dates, times, locations for early voting and election day vote centers.
What are the items on the agenda that day?
There are 7 constitutional amendments from the governor, from the legislature, and there are 2 propositions from the city of Midland.
Okay, the
So-
city has their road issue and what else?
They've broken that up into 2 different propositions.
They're both road propositions.
Yes, they
Actually,
are.
one is a road proposition and the other one is a sewer and water proposition.
Okay.
It has to be broken into
Infrastructure.
2
Thank you.
for that
Okay.
infrastructure.
Okay, so they're
Yes,
not-
thank you.
They're not both roads. There's one road and one other health and safety. Okay, and then you have the list of the amendments that the governor's asking to be voted on?
I do. I did not bring sample ballots with me today. I
Okay,
will
would you
send that.
provide that to each member of the court? so
Yes, sir, I
we
will.
Can see what finally ended up on there,
Okay.
okay?
Just one quick question. You mentioned for early voting, there's only one location, right?
Yes,
Okay.
that has been the norm
Yes, ma'am.
on constitutional amendments for the last 2 elections, both in 13 and 15, simply because the turnout is
Sure.
not very good. So we only try to expend the least amount of money, resources, people, you know, equipment, and all that kind of stuff, just to one, which will be there at our office.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay,
I'd like to make that motion, to approve this notice of joint special election to be held on November 7th, 2017.
okay.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you. 17, acknowledge Midland County Sheriff's Office monthly fee. Good morning, Rory.
Morning. Yes, just per statute, need your acknowledgement on the monthly fees.
Motion to acknowledge?
Second. Motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes. 18, discuss take action on donation in the amount of $3,500 to the Midland County Sheriff's Office Mounted Patrol for Midland County Fair, Inc., from the Midland County Fair, Inc.
Yes, sir, this is a donation that is dedicated to the Mounted Patrol, and just need your acknowledgement on it, and we will take care, as usual, thank you letter.
Okay.
Motion acknowledged.
Have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thank you. 19, discuss take action authorizing the county judge to sign Vector Fleet contract. Christie or John? Well, actually, it's Christie in this case. Good morning.
This is our annual renewal. They have increased the target cost by 3%. Our total amount for the year will be $586,778.
Yeah, good. That's the same number you gave us for the budget.
Yes, conveniently.
Okay.
Motion to authorize county judge to sign Vector Fleet contract.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes. 20, discuss take action declaring items as salvage.
Yes, we attempted to auction some surplus items. The telephone equipment and the shredders did not sell. So we would like to have those declared as salvage, therefore we can throw them away.
Is the phone system usable to anybody?
I don't believe so. The Cisco stuff that's out of the barn?
Is there any charity that could use it?
Basically, that server is, we used it, it's 15 years old plus, and we took all the hard drives off per our CJIS policy, so there's no value
Okay.
to it. It's just a box.
Okay. All right.
Motion to approve the declaration of items as salvage.
Okay.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. 21, discuss take action on vendors' workman's compensation. Christie and Tim. Drum roll.
Go ahead. I'll let you start since it.
I know we are required to have, our vendors have workers' compensation, and that has seemed to be a bit of a problem with some of our vendors who are smaller companies. They don't want to get workers' compensation.
We have,
We're losing vendors.
I've lost quite a few vendors that do special things for us, because one of them is a two-man company and he can't afford workers' comp, the price to pay. A lot of them are smaller companies, and, we're just trying to find some way to, if there's some way that they can continue working for us.
Do you have a master services contract with them?
I don't know.
Can you get one? With the smaller vendors?
Yeah, we can do that.
You can,
What's happened is we're losing a lot of our local specialty folks, and it just means that, one, we can't spend our money locally. Two, our cost will go up significantly.
And they are very good vendors. They do good work
And we
for
will
us.
be put in a wait position versus a respond when you call them position.
Correct.
can we do a master services contract with an indemnity clause?
Yeah.
Don't you think that would handle it?
Yeah, however the court wants to do it, that'd be fine.
That would be mine.
Policy.
Well, I mean,
Everybody have to have, every.
It's law.
under state deal, all of it vendors that we
Well,
have
for-
should have
for
workers.
certain.
So we can circumvent the state
It's only for.
rules?
For construction projects on
That
public
includes
property.
any kind of maintenance.
Right, yeah. There are certain contracts that, by state law, where workers' comp is required if it's construction or maintenance on public property. But for other things, that don't involve that, there's no requirement of, workers' comp. It's just something the county has always required.
Well, if we can get an indemnification from them, I think that would be sufficient.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
the situation before when I've discussed it with Christie is that in the past, the county has always wanted to have workers' comp, and I felt it wasn't for Christie to put herself in the position of changing that.
Yeah.
It needed to be up to the court. But yeah, the court can require, whatever
Yeah,
you
the only,
find in those.
the only difference is the disability requirements under that
And would we,
in the insurance.
do we want this to only apply to vendors that we are a single person, or that claim they don't have employees?
Yeah, what's your cutoff? 2 employees, 5?
I mean,
10?
we've got a company here that, Aldridge Security Gates and Overhead Doors, they have 5 employees. You know. And for them to get, workers' comp would have been over $8,000. And they just can't afford to do that right now. They're just a small company that does an excellent job for us.
The issue with that one, though, is that they may fit under the statute because they would be doing maintenance or repairs on county property, on public property, is that may fit under the statute where the state law requires that they have workers' comp. So I don't know if we can exempt them.
I think that's the crux of the problem is that even if we want to use them, we can't because of state law.
Yeah, there are other situations that we've talked about. I can't remember, but Christie has talked to me about some others before where there's.
The plumbing and the overhead doors.
Bill Kelly Welding is a one-man shop, sometimes he's 2.
But I think there are some where they're not actually doing construction or maintenance
On property.
public property, and those we can definitely do it for the other things.
What's an example of one of those? I'm having a hard time
The overhead doors.
thinking. That's not maintenance?
No, that's maintenance.
Yes, it is maintenance.
You're
Oh,
talking
you're
about-
saying,
Yeah,
what's an
which
example of
one
not?
is-
The sweep co, they stripe our parking lots.
Okay. That's not considered maintenance.
I don't know, what are some of those ones we've talked about, like
Baker's Entomology, they do all our termite. They're a specialist in termites. And anytime we have termite problem, we have to call them in to take care of it. They're a very small group, but
yeah, see, I don't think that's gonna be covered. But I think what we can do is sit down, and we haven't discussed at this point, kind of gone through an exhaustive list to see who would fit into that statute, but what we can do is sit down and go through and figure out which ones would definitely fit under the statute, which wouldn't. and then
Yeah,
come back to
I would
court.
think that, we should have a selected group that we would get an indemnification from to make certain that we're covered. Because, state law is anything you do is maintenance and repair, and that's a concern. But you don't wanna get a bill for $8,000 so that they can work on our deals, which is what essentially you're gonna have to do if you want them to use them.
correct.
And that's a killer.
So if there's an exception, like what the commissioner is talking about, is it something that would have to come to court, we would have to approve and say, except in this case, or how is that gonna work? Because I agree with you, that's quite a bit of money for a small business. Is that something that we can do?
Well, how about if, I think we see that the court it sounds like the court would like to eliminate that need for workers' comp
For
and
local,
situations
for
where we
local.
can.
Right.
So now that we basically have the guidance, why don't we sit down and go through all the vendors that we use or considered, and then come back to court with a plan on which ones we think we can exempt.
Okay, is the state statute absolute? I mean,
Yes.
just, There's no cutoff with a number of employees, it's absolute, you have to
Yes, sir.
have it.
And there's been an attorney general opinion on it, that it doesn't even, the size of the contract doesn't matter. If it's $20 contract, it's still covered by it.
Well, the problem is that if they don't have it, it throws it to you for your workers' comp, and that's a concern. So,
I think we need to know what is gonna fall outside the purview of the statute, which I don't think is gonna be very much. So we got a problem.
well, let's see if we can find a solution.
I appreciate that.
Okay?
Okay, you think you can have that for next court?
Yeah, if we can.
Okay.
Yeah, we just need to basically go through the list.
Okay. So based on that, 21 is tabled for any action.
Okay, thank you.
Okay? Thank you. 22, discuss take action on fleet accidents. Dwayne? There's nothing. I got a note while we were going through all this. Item 6 is an executive session item for the court, but indication there's a couple of people here that want to speak on it. Is that right? Are they here?
I apologize, Commissioners, I couldn't hear you with my hearing aids.
Oh, that's
It was
all right.
too much,
Just start with your name, where you live, and who you represent.
My name is Ed Staples. I live at 7106 County Road 116.
Okay?
Lot B18.
Okay, Midland
And-
County.
Sir?
Midland County.
Yes, sir.
All right.
I represent Trans Global not pipelines, but Land Services, who is working with Endeavor to get an extension on the county road, on the county property located at north side of Interstate 20 at the horse barn. There's a operating oil well there, and we'd like to get the harvest the salt water off of that line and take it down to, do you need a map? I'm not sure if you have one or not.
Well, we're looking at this document that was attached to what the court was supplied.
Well, would you gentlemen like to look at this right here? Would that help?
That'd be a lot better, actually.
May I approach?
Absolutely, please. Because it looks like you want to come right up the main drive.
Okay, this right here,
There you go.
okay, this is crossing Interstate 20 here. Comes up from across the fence line where the county property is located. This is the oil well here. We currently have an easement here. What we're looking to do is extend the line here and then bring it over to the collection.
Okay, this is the aircraft company.
That's correct.
This is our extra parking, and that's an operating well, and you just want to take it out that way. Okay.
Let me get another one.
Is this the, trying to figure out where it's at?
This is the main
Cotton
entrance.
Flats over here?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this is not the main entrance is over here. On this drawing, it appears you want to come up the main entrance. You're not coming up the main drive at the horseshoe.
Not at all.
That's the airport.
We'll be working with TxDOT and going underneath the property, Interstate 20. Coming up on a private property.
Okay. And you currently have some line in that right of way,
Yes, we do.
right outside the fence. So you just want to parallel that outside the fence and then turn when you reach perpendicular with the well.
Correct. And if you're south.
Okay.
There's a collection point where they're collecting salt water from this well to two other wells.
You said that you have an easement right here, currently? Where's your current
Yes, sir,
easement?
I've got a few straw on the property right here.
Yes, sir.
There's a current easement in place.
This would be the southwest corner of the current land, in the southwest corner of the original horseshoe. This is the 15 acres we bought, and that's the aircraft.
Yes, sir.
It's gonna be buried?
So,
It's gonna be buried?
yes, sir. It'd be about 48 inches.
Are you gonna cross Midkiff?
No, sir.
That's gonna be pretty close to where you're gonna drill your horizontals back north.
I have no idea about drilling. I'm a landman because that's 6-7
Okay,
right.
okay.
How many feet is that from the well to that point where you're gonna go to the south?
It showed to be about 52 rods. That's going to be,
This is what was given to me.
it's 864.17 feet.
Okay. Ed, can I get you to go back to the microphone and talk to us there? Yes, sir. Thank you.
Gentlemen, the line is going to be, I don't have in front of me, like 857.17 feet, 52.7 rods. And we will pay the going rate to the county for the opportunity to put the line in. If this passes, you're looking at taking more trucks off the road and doing it pipelining, carrying the salt water and oil to a collection point more centrally located.
Okay.
Is there any other questions I may answer for you, gentlemen?
I think you've done a good job of answering the basic questions, and we'll have to talk about it, okay?
All right, sir.
All right. Any other questions? All right. Thank you very much. Oh, excuse me.
Lay flat line gonna be there? How long? It says you got a 12-inch lay flat freshwater line. How long is that gonna be there?
Until that well either stops producing or it's dug up some other reason. We're asking for 50 feet to service the well. As far as having a time frame on how long it'll last, I have no earthly idea.
Any other questions? Thank you very much. We'll have a discussion. You'll hear from us after court.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Being this is my first time ever to approach, are you talking about after court today or next week?
You probably get an answer, if not today, by Wednesday, probably.
Thank you, sir. I didn't know. That's the reason why I
Yeah.
have to ask. Thank you, gentlemen. Have a great day.
You betcha. Okay. 23, discuss take action on administrative leave with pay for those employees called to emergency state active military service due to Hurricane Harvey. And it doesn't say this, but we need to add Hurricane Irma because we've had some call-ups in the last couple of days. Is that all right, Russell?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We have, Midland County has several employees that have been, have received military orders due to the governor's proclamation, disaster proclamation for Houston. And Mitzi was concerned about how to handle payroll and contacted Camp Mabry in Austin and learned that we would use the same guidelines that we do for any military orders, keep all their benefits as they are, their pay, they come back to their job. And as long as we keep them paid and keep their benefits in order, all should be good.
Okay. She just needs confirmation from the court. Do we agree with that?
Is this just for an indefinite time, or is there a?
It's really indefinite.
My understanding was the emergency orders they received is an indefinite.
Commissioners, as long as they're on leave pursuant to the emergency order, then it would continue.
Thank you. It just didn't say anything on this order, so I was just curious. Thank you.
That's covered in our personnel policy, right? Yeah, it's standard stuff.
Yeah, that's, she needs it reconfirmed because of the extent of this call-up possibly. So,
I'd like to make that motion to approve the administrative leave with pay for those employees called to emergency state active military service due to Hurricane Harvey and Hurricane Irma.
correct. Have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Same sign, motion passes. 24 and 25, we've got to hold because they missed their flight this morning. trying to get out of Houston unless you've got something on it.
No, sir.
Okay? They called us just before court and said they couldn't get out. So hopefully they're not flooding again. So it'll be on the next court, or we may have to have a special court in between, depending on the timing. Okay? 26, take action acknowledging personnel memorandum.
In addition to the new hires and separations, I wanted to point out that we have the overtime. Thank you. What happened?
Go ahead, Cindy.
That our overtime, we have overtime out of this pay period that's for juvenile employees, and that's funded by the state. And we have overtime for pretrial, and that's paid by our standard policy. And we have some overtime for CID, and that's covered by reimbursement from the task force. And the DA has some overtime, and that comes out of their discretionary pretrial fund. And juvenile probation has several changes to their fund designation, changing how much the county pays versus the state, and they're designating each of these positions, how much is paid.
So where it has the percentages on here, does that mean, for example, 2.4% from 364-650-00? Is that telling us that 2.4% of that pay is coming from, I'm
State.
assuming that's a grant or?
State, yes.
Commissioner, it is for state funding. Their fiscal year started September 1st, so we needed to update those percentages of what comes from general fund as opposed to what comes from the grant funding.
So if it says 100%, that's 100% of grant, or is that 100% of us? That's what, I guess that's what I'm trying to figure out.
The 100% is county. Yes.
100% is,
County,
so if it says 45.1%, that's 45.1%, that's what the county pays, right?
no,
Okay, so that's where I'm confused. There's percentages there, but I don't know
the percentage
what
represents.
county and which ones.
Oh, I
Right.
see what.
Do you see what I'm saying?
The 100% is, represents the county, and
Okay.
anything that's not 100%, that percentage is representing what the state pays.
You can see on this spreadsheet, she actually specifies that the percentage and where it's coming from, and it's that fund.
Thank you.
Is any of this
I don't even know what
in,
that fund is. Can you tell me what that fund is? I mean, it's just numbers. It doesn't say.
364 is right there on Mitzi's spreadsheet. 364, anything 363, it's the different state funds that are for the juvenile probation department.
Okay, thank you.
is this whole thing in compliance with county policy in any sort of way?
Did you say in compliance with?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is.
Those are not anything that's in or out of compliance. Those are not new salaries. Those are just the existing salaries for the employees, Commissioner. And because the grant year is September 1st for the grants, we just go in and allocate those percentages.
Yeah, this is the first time it's been split up this way, so that's why I was curious. I don't remember.
I don't know if it's the first time she's brought it before the court, but this is something that's done every single year, Commissioner.
Oh,
First
okay.
time that they brought it before the
Yeah,
court.
Okay.
I've never seen it before. That's why I was curious to see what the percentages stood for, but thank you.
what I'm curious about is if we're gonna approve something, are any of these amounts of overtime or raises or whatever they are, out of our policy, outside of
A
our.
reminder,
That's not subject to court approval.
yeah, we get this, but the juvenile board approves their raises. This is just an acknowledgement that they've acted. We can't change what they've done. We only give them lump sums of money. But it does come to court.
I make the motion that we acknowledge the personnel memorandum.
Second?
Have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thank you, Cindy. Veronica, 27, discuss take action on budget line item transfers.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
I'm sorry, I'm going to adjust this mic real quick. Line item transfers, I do have some to bring to your attention. On page 12 of 32, line item transfer number 8689, and it is from Road and Bridge, moving money, $781,000 from capital outlay infrastructure, moving it to professional services. Description says transfer funds to cover seal coating project for Midland County. The next one to bring to your attention is on page 15 of 32, line item transfer 8713. It is moving money from facilities to SOCID for the new evidence room expansion is what the explanation on there provided. On page 29 of 32, line item transfer number 8982. That is a transfer of funds from one department to another for court-appointed attorneys, and that's just from the district courts moving that money around. Page 30 of 32, that is out of the risk management department, moving $3,500 from equipment and furnishings into capital outlay less than $5,000. Explanation provided indicates transfer monies to correct line item for the purchase of a drone. So, that is all I have.
Which one was that one again? I'm sorry.
Purchase of the drone.
30 of 32, 8983. And they're moving money into capital outlay, so
Because they're gonna buy a drone.
that's what the line item transfer indicates, yes, sir.
What is, it's risk management, is that right?
Yes.
Is Dwayne here? Oh, okay. I'd like to hold that one until he comes back. I'm just curious to see what that's all about.
Okay.
Approve, hold that one.
Yes. I'd like to make a motion to approve all line item transfers with the exception of,
8983.
yes, 8983.
Second. Have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
There-
There he is.
Sorry, I was on the phone with Rockport.
You didn't have any fleet accidents, did you?
No.
There was a line item on here, Dwayne, about a drone. Can you tell us more about it, what that's about?
Yes, I was trying to move everything over into the correct item line for that, to purchase a drone. It's basically to be able to look at the buildings and stuff like that, to be able to get better clues of what's going on when we get damage. Basically, that's what I'm looking at getting it for.
Who's gonna fly it?
I will. Hey. Somebody else can, if anybody else wants to fly it, they can, I don't care. That's why I'm just looking for use within the department.
Does it have recording availability?
Yes, it does.
Does it have a what again? I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
Recording? Yeah,
Because
it,
I could see where that would actually be beneficial if Dwayne would come fly over a crime scene for me.
yeah, it's got 4,000K. Why do you always give me extra stuff to do?
Because you come up with these
Golly.
ideas and I tack onto them.
It's got a 4,000K camera on it with filters. It's got recording on it where you can either do video or pictures. It's just a low-cost solution to try and better the department as far as not having to get people to climb buildings or get up on roofs, stuff like that for damage.
I'll make a motion to approve that line item transfer.
Okay.
Thank you.
Second. There's a motion and a second on the drone. All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thank you. And, let's see, 28, discuss take action on bill and wire transfers. Veronica.
Yes, sir. I do have a wire transfer today in the amount of $200 deposit from the county clerk's office, deposited in general pooled cash account in error. So we'll have to wire that money back to the county clerk's office. As far as our bills today, I do have some exceptions to the bills.
Okay.
There is one for Vandegrift Group, $285.59. The attached invoice needs to be expensed. Vandegrift was contacted and asked to help with the walkway lights and the horseshoe, and no purchase order was written. That's from the Facilities Department. There is a co-file from JP2 in the amount of $704. Inquest Record 1 and imaging is what the invoice indicates. And I have an explanation from Judge Barton and Judge Cobos indicating, please expense $704 from the line item contract services to cover the cost of attached invoice for co-file. This item was overlooked and PO was never completed. So that was another one without a purchase order. A1 signs from Sheriff Detention, $1,171.47 for a vinyl for a 2017 Chevy that was done by, ordered by John Nichols, coming out of the purchasing department, and the purchasing department was not made aware of it, is what the explanation on that was provided. I do have one from Freddie's Mobile Home Services for $12,000, prep, move, level, setup, and anchor. For the sheriff's office, I think it's at the shooting range, the building. Explanation provided says, a quote for the services was not obtained in PO, not requested per procedures due to the rush to have the building moved from Concho Oil property before it was demolished. The vendor also requesting his payment as soon as possible, so. Those are the exceptions to the purchase order system. I do have some additional bills that I am requesting the court to consider. One is for John Trischetti in the amount of $187.05, which I realized Friday afternoon we hadn't entered into the system, and I'm asking the court to allow me to go ahead and make this payment. I do have 3 that the purchasing agent has given me today that they need to go ahead and get paid. Jones Brothers in the amount of $255,218. It's for the Cedars construction. I also have one for MW Builders, $622,535, and that's for the CS&CD building. And the last one is Dunaway, also having to do with the Cedars, $53,665. And because those are large amounts and she just got the requested signatures on these invoices, that is why she's asking for us to go ahead and pay for them. I have not reviewed them. If the court, that's subject to my review, but if the court will allow me, I'll go ahead and process these checks.
I'd make the motion that we pay all bills. I'd like for you to hold that Freddie's Mobile Home Services.
Okay?
We'll look at that and work with it on the next.
Okay, we'll hold.
Okay. Have a motion, and one bill is being requested.
Commissioner, before I second, do you want to look at the CTERS one that she just mentioned that did you say you need to look at the CTERS one?
I need to review them. I just got them this morning from our purchasing agent, but those are big invoices.
Okay, second, that's fine.
Okay, and your second does include the holding of the one bill.
That is correct.
All right.
What is it, mobile
Freddie's
home?
Mobile Home Services.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second with one exception. All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thank you. We'll do one more, and then we're gonna take a break before we get into the long items.
What?
Yes, sir.
Commissioner, what's your question on
I
Freddie's?
wanna know where it's being charged to.
That was the $12,000 that Concho donated to us for the mover to move the building from Concho's property to the gun range.
Did we get it 20,000?
Yes, sir, we did.
We did.
Okay.
Wait a
I'm
minute,
sorry, I
wait a
just
minute.
didn't-
Here comes Christie.
Come on, Kristen.
I would just like to let y'all know that the Freddie's Mobile Home, the purchase order was held up because Freddie's did not have workers' comp. So
Well, it sounds like we're still held up. He doesn't have workman's comp.
Russell, it's up to you.
Has the work been done already?
Yes.
Oh, well, yeah, we gotta pay. There's no question
Russell
on that.
says we gotta pay.
Absolutely.
So I amend my resolution and,
We got Freddie gonna move a mobile home, and we're back on that one.
So we're paying?
Well,
Second.
Yes.
a motion and a second on Freddie's mobile home. All in favor, say yes.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. We are paying Freddie.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay. Let's go to 34, take action on submitted application permit to use county right-of-way for utility line installation, driveway construction, and mailbox construction. Precinct 1.
3.
Precinct 2.
It's only 3.
Precinct 3.
1.
Precinct 4.
One, make a motion to approve all these.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes. With that, by my watch, you got 10:24. We're gonna take a 10-minute recess, and then we'll come back into open session.
Kenny.
We are back from recess, I guess. And, we've got, right now, we've got 2 executive session items, but there are bits and pieces of the budget. One of them dealing with what I handed out to you about the marketing account. You each asked from last court, and what I'd like to do is take this, read it, we'll put it back on the agenda next court meeting. The money is conditional in the budget, we can always just freeze it, but this is what Commissioner Donnelly had asked for before he left, and this is it. And you'll take it, read it, and ask any questions. Maybe I don't want to. How's that? Is that better? All right, good. Okay, with that, let's go to 29, discuss take action on request, whoops, we're back at 10:40 by my watch. Discuss take action on request from department heads, elected officials on Monday's Midland County's budget. From the last court meeting, there are some additions, one takeaway, and that came as a result of presentations by department heads and other electeds. And in there, let me address a couple of items first. The sheriff made particular mention of, he talked about Formica and some toilets and some repairs in the jail. That's all in the budget. It's already in there. It was in the proposed budget, so you're good to go. Madam Auditor, you going through this, or you want each of us just to take a look and read it?
It's up to you, Judge.
Well, you can get up there for any questions. There are pardon me?
Would you go through them?
Yeah,
individually?
I'm just deciding who wants to go there. Why don't you go on up?
Okay.
Tell us about it. But, oh, and let me say one other thing, the sheriff's department. You mentioned a car that didn't meet the mileage that John Warren was going to communicate with the court. He did so. That car is being replaced. So that's an addition.
Yes, sir. So on the first page of your changes, I do have all of the general fund changes that were made from the proposed budget.
Everybody
So
got one of these?
These are just changes from the proposed budget, and I believe I laid one on each of your areas. First of all, we changed the general fund revenue by $3 million, having to do with the tax rate that you had proposed. And so that's an increase of $3 million. As far as personal expenditures, it increased because we did have some employee payout funds for each department that wasn't previously included. We had an increase of $87,756. Due to the TCDRS contribution, moving it from 13 to 13.5, that was an increase of $115,731. There were other employees that are partially paid by different funds, such as a law library, courthouse security, Andy Ackland's salary, James Henry, coming out of Justice Courts, that we have special revenue funds that we typically pay for them. I went through each of those special revenue funds, making sure that we had adequate funds budgeted for each position. And I made those changes, one for the district attorneys coming from the grant. I did a decrease actually of $537. Justice Court Alternative Sentencing Program for James Henry, $6,088 to come out of general fund. SOCIU, $7,959 for the matching fund for the victim grant that we do have. Courthouse security, $8,018, and law library, $25,019 was added to the general fund and coming out of the special revenue fund. Under operating expenses, we did increase the transfer out of non-departmental for $3 million. That having to do with a transfer to Road and Bridge for the South Midgift Road Improvement Project. We did increase, as requested by the district judges, the court-appointed attorneys by 142nd, 11,238, 67, 650, 318, 7,600, 385th, 87,000, 441st, 164,400. We did increase for the district clerk's office $43,000, and that's for jury notices, the money that was previously in the sheriff's office. We went ahead and made that change from the sheriff's department to the district clerk's office. For court-appointed attorneys, the same as the district courts, the county courts at law requested additional court-appointed attorney money, $17,300. For county court at law, $46,900 for county court at law number 2. The vehicle that you just previously spoke about, Judge, the $53,000 for civil and warrants vehicle was increased. In the sheriff's department, because we did move that money, we decreased his postage, $35,500. Sheriff admin increased per sheriff requests, education and training and admin to $5,000. And in capital outlay, less than $5,000, $3,200 was increased in the admin department for the sheriff's office. For the sheriff patrol publications, as requested by the sheriff, was increased by $1,056. For CID sheriff's office, education and training was increased by $2,000. In Constable Precinct 4, there was no vehicle fuel, as he had not requested any money for vehicle fuel, but the court noted that was needed for $4,500. In community services, volunteer fire protection, $50,000 was increased for the volunteer fire truck replacement. I believe, Judge, you said there was...
That's pending a conversation with insurance and some other things, but it's in the budget as precautionary. It may not actually be used.
Okay. Vehicle maintenance, we had to go through because our contract did increase, and because of some capital outlay items that was needed for Vector, we went ahead and increased each of the individual departments by $58,996 to reflect that increase in that contract.
Okay.
As far as general fund, those are all the changes. Do you have any questions on that?
Okay, these are put in based on conversations you had with me or Veronica. This would be the time if any of you want to add something or take away something, offer it.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll go on.
Special funds,
Yes, sir.
please.
In special funds, personnel expenditure changes, the same thing for the employee payouts, but in the special funds, the increase was for $1,768. And because of the contribution for TCDRS from 13 to 13.5, $2,855. And these are increases to those all special revenue funds. The others are decreases to those juvenile case management, law library, and courthouse security funds, only because that money was moved over to general fund. So that's reflected on the special revenue fund also.
Okay. For
the operating special funds, Road and Bridge had a small decrease because we had over budgeted on that, $5,994 for the vehicle maintenance. We had the $3 million capital outlay infrastructure that I previously spoke about that was transferred for the South Midgift Road improvement. And the other increases that I've done, I've gone to make sure that there is a positive fund balance in each of those accounts and everything was properly budgeted for. So some of these increases are just making sure that we have sufficient funds in each of the funds based on what was budgeted. County attorney memberships and dues, He agreed, and we decreased it by $1,049 to make sure fund balance was properly budgeted for. Justice Court's building security, we increased capital outlay $5,000 due to one of the JP 1 and 3 requesting a panic button system. Truancy prevention, leg monitor rental that had not been previously budgeted for, we moved it to $10,000, increase of $9,998. Sheriff Article 18 funds, negative of $148. Dare supplies, negative $432. Program supplies, $148 for juvenile probation. These are all just to make sure that everything is properly budgeted for in the special revenue funds. For the law library, because there wasn't sufficient funds to cover all of what was budgeted in there, in the proposed budget, we had to decrease the books by $21,000. Unclaimed property was increased to $9,000. Professional services in the juvenile probation department was increased to $15,000 to properly budgeted for these special revenue funds. And there's other county courts of law, child abuse prevention, rabies control, donation, multi-use fund, $11,866 based on what the court had already requested. Risk management, $1,075. Healthcare fund, $12,000 for the COBRA notices. And then fleet maintenance, $17,000 due to the increase in the contract.
Okay.
On the third page of what I have, the changes for proposed budget, is just special fund revenues, and that's just because we didn't properly budget for all the revenues that we're expecting in those special funds. And as you can see on the sheet provided to you, those are just making sure that all the revenues are properly budgeted for.
Okay.
That is all I have as far as those changes.
Any questions of the court? Any suggestions of the court in addition to what she's read? And just as a piece of information in the budget, which is really coming up in an item or two, the big items of note are there is a complete redoing of Johnson Control Systems, which control heat and air. For our buildings, we've got a hodgepodge. Some of them are not functioning well, and so Tim suggested we do this. So that's a very large item, but we benefit by doing them all at one time. We got major water heater, professional services. There is the start of the co-file, which is being discussed on a 3-year basis. That is preserving the historical records of Midland County. It'll start with the county clerk and the JP's data. Renovation of the downtown library, CS&CD finishing that building and cleaning up the old building. And the other big item is the court software, which we didn't get bought this year, and it's been moved over to next year. And just more cars than we intended to buy because of some problems with the Explorers, which we took out of service, so those have all been replaced. There's some contingencies in jail overcrowding, and if y'all would please make note, this is one that really affects us, is the psychiatric and medication treatments inside the jail. Those have gone up significantly. They pay dividends in terms of handling the inmates, but they're very costly. So those are the major big items that are in here, and we certainly need to mention the biggest of them all probably is the South Midkiff and Precinct 2 being rebuilt that the Commissioner Sanchez had asked for, and we've been waiting on a number, and we got it after last court meeting, so it's reflected in this number here. Okay? Any discussion among the court? Okay? So is there a motion to accept these as presented to you, or with any changes that you want to add?
Motion to approve.
Okay. Second. Have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion does pass, excuse me. 30, conduct a public hearing on Midland County budget for fiscal year 2017-2018. This is for the public. Anybody wanting to ask about the budget? We've already had our tax rate hearing, so this is just a conversation about what you hear in this budget that you may want to know about. And you're free to come and ask. Second call for the public hearing. Third and final call for any public hearing concerning the budget as presented this morning. Hearing none, the public hearing is closed. 31, adopt the Midland County budget for fiscal year 2017 and 2018. It is the budget plus these additions. And I'm looking for the right sheet, Madam Auditor, and I've got them all piled up here in the wrong place. If you'll read it. If you'll read the operations, there you go. That's the one I'm looking for. Okay. And so the budget would mean in general operations, 71.517600. The expenditure is 75,736,104. It's a $4 million differential. That comes from, here we go, that's why we have reserves. In the road and bridge fund, you're going to see 2.304 million in income, but you're going to see an expenditure of 11.9. And again, using reserve funds. And then inside this budget to buy other capital items and finish things, it again will be using reserve funds. So,
Judge, can I point out, I know one thing that Ken Colston had requested for uniforms, and that did not get approved. I didn't know.
Did not get approved.
Okay, we just wanted to make sure.
That is correct.
Okay.
Okay. And so total operations and special funds, capital projects, the entirety is about $90,919,844 with expenditures of $118,333,164. Again, the balance is coming out of special accounts that can only be used for certain things. That's a debt service in there for the jail bond and the additional transfers out from reserves to affect these items. Any questions? Is there a motion to adopt that budget? And let me caution you, or not caution, but remind you, you had asked for some detail on the horseshoe marketing account, and that's kind of been remolded, and you have it in your hands. That piece is in the budget, but it can be frozen, or you can read that and discuss it today, but you've indicated you want a week or so to look at it. So if you come back and say we don't like it, we can always freeze that account after the adoption.
Well, Judge, actually, this is just a budget number, right? This doesn't mean we've approved anything.
No.
So
No.
those things can come later,
That's correct.
right?
Okay. All right. Any other questions or any motions to adopt the county budget?
Motion to adopt the county budget is proposed.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes. 31, actually 32, adopt Midland County tax rate. Now that you know what the budget looks like, we did present or propose a tax rate to stay where we are. And that was proposed the same day they were debating whether we were going to get revenue caps, which is a terrible idea. So it was a precautionary proposal. If you want to leave it at that, fine. If you want to change it, fine. You cannot go up, you can only go down. But each of you have a handout. And floor is open for discussion. The rate that we're at and was proposed to leave alone is 0.155992.
Judge, on the proposed sentence, it says increase in tax rate. It's not a rate increase, it's a total taxes increase. based on the growth of Midland County, but it's not a growth in the tax rate. Does that number have to be there, Karen?
Yeah.
The language, it says rate, that's mathematically incorrect. It's not right. We're not increasing the rate.
Karen, you want to come up to the speaker, please?
You're correct, you're not increasing the rate from this year's rate, but that is based on an increase from the effective tax, the calculated effective tax rate.
Commissioner Prude, this is the same thing we go through at the legislature every year. They prescribe this kind of language, which is not indicative of what happens. Rate stays the same, values go up and down, but that is okay. So is there conversation or discussion or motion or none?
I propose dropping it slightly to, .153169.
Okay. Commissioners asked to drop the rate to 153,169. Inquiring minds want to know, can the budget function at that number? Yes. It can, provided we don't add or move stuff around a lot during the year. Scott, you want to discuss it, or are you just proposing it and waiting to hear?
I'll propose it.
Okay.
Well, I think that's a decent proposal. Any discussions?
Okay, we have a proposal to drop the rate. Some of the circumstances it was proposed in have cleared up. They're not great, but they've cleared up.
I would second that.
Okay.
So sorry, go ahead.
All right, so we have a second.
Well-
Now, let's have a discussion.
No, the only thing I was gonna say is we're gonna have to change the numbers on the,
Budget.
okay.
Because it will,
Yeah.
that additional 3 million, it's gonna be less than that.
Right. Right. But as long as you're going down, it's not an issue that I'm aware of.
Well, we have to state it in the motion here in a second.
do,
Because
yeah.
of the 9.9%.
Yep.
Do you know what that new percentage will be with
8.
that difference?
At 8.
It's at 8. I've got it right here.
8.0?
And I also, excuse me, you need to, I think you have a copy of this as well,
Yeah.
but you also
Is
need
that what that is
to
right
Here it
now?
is.
include the M&O and INS.
Commissioner,
$700,000.
here's what you're asking. In the public statement, and as it has to be addressed, you would address it at .153169. That is an 8% increase. The maintenance and operations would be stated as .146147. The debt service rate will be, the same, .007022, and that your total ad valorem tax rate would be equivalent to .153169. That will be the difference statements. And we got statements for any of these you want to talk about. Okay?
So I know there's a motion and a second, but don't we have to go back and restate it the way it's written on this page by law?
We state what we're adopting by law.
Right, but
The verbiage in
the
there.
verbiage needs to be the way it's on this
The
page.
motion needs to be as it's written on that.
This is
Yes.
the motion we have tonight.
Oh, okay. Do you want to hand that over to Scott?
Sure.
So that way he can redo the motion with the correct numbers?
We haven't, okay.
But, because that's
Okay,
what we're
but-
voting on, right?
Yes, but we're having discussion on that right now. Is there any discussion? We have a proposal and a second to lower the rate. Is there any discussion? Here, Scott, this is where anybody having discussion on the court?
So you want me, I need to amend my motion.
No, not yet. You just got a motion to lower the rate, and you have a second, we have to approve that motion or deny that motion. If it's approved, then that's what you're gonna read. Okay? Anybody against lowering the rate? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Scott, would you please read the new adopted rate?
I move that the property tax rate be just decreased, right?
No, it would still be an
Just say
increase.
it's still an
Increased by
increase.
the adoption of a tax rate of 0.153169, which is effectively an 8% increase in the tax rate. This tax rate will hereby be adopted in the following components: maintenance and operating expense tax rate, 0.146147, debt service tax rate, 0.007022, 2017 total ad valorem tax rate, 0.153169.
We've approved the motion to lower it. That's the exact motion for the minutes. Is there a second to that? Second. Second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes. The rate has been lowered. Okay? Karen, thank you, and thank everybody that had something to do with this budget. We have another item, then we have a couple of executive items. 33, discuss take action on charitable donations. This started out as one of those great ideas when you talk to yourself. And it evolved to being so complicated, it just wouldn't work. And we had some more obstacles come up at the last minute. But the concept is this, and all I'm asking you to do is think about this. In light of the current hurricane, which is wiping out the reserves of a number of cities and counties, and they need help and all, if the same thing happened here, what would be the immediate funding that we could contribute literally with a phone call? Well, we don't have anything like that. So I would ask each of you to consider crafting during the upcoming budget year, crafting an emergency first responding event account. We would take it out of the budget, but it would be something that could be triggered by policy automatically to get those things that were needed into place immediately. And it would be restricted to Midland County only. So just think about that concept. Not asking you to vote on anything today. It's something that we need to develop by policy. We'd be the first county to have such a thing, but in talking with our colleagues down in South Texas, they wish they'd have had it. So, and I think that gives Russell a lot more comfort. I think it does me. It was a good idea, but we're having trouble putting it into words.
Judge, would this be something like, for example, if there is a declaration, an emergency declaration called in Midland County?
Yeah.
Is that what we're looking at?
Yeah, I think what I'm learning from my colleagues down there, it has to have several components. It has to be first responders. It has to have some kind of declaration, either nationally, statewide, or locally, that triggers all of the backup from the state and the federal government. It can't be just an incident in a siege somewhere. It has to be predominantly, and I may have to change this later, but it has to be an act of Mother Nature, almost, to put all those assets into motion. So if y'all would bring your suggestions and let's talk about it, and if you like it, let's try to craft something, and that would fulfill the restrictions on how our money is used, our money meaning Midland County taxpayer money, how our money is used in these events. While you want to act in aid, and we thank Laura and the DA's office for the clothing and personal item drive. I think you did pretty well.
You did excellent.
It's just something that's new to the scene, and it's a very, very active discussion among state county judges right now. So,
Judge, I want to say I like this proposal. a whole lot better than just a, blanket contributions where we
Yeah.
lose control of
Yeah.
it. And this is good.
Well, as I told you, it's a wonderful idea when you say it to yourself. But when you sit down and start trying to put it into practice, it gets so convoluted, it almost gets out of hand. And I've got to do a little more work with our friends at the state, but I think I've got 253 helping hands now. Have seen what can happen. Okay? Is there any other item to be discussed in open session? Hearing none. Russell, do you have litigation?
No, sir.
I've got personnel, and then we need to talk about this easement under real estate.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we'll conduct executive session pursuant to Texas Government Code 551.074, discuss personnel matters, and that will be followed by conducting executive session Texas Government Code Section 551.072 to deliberate purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real estate. By my watch, it is 11:09, and if y'all will excuse it.
Any more than I already am.
Okay, we are out of executive session. We're back in open session. It's at noon. Is there any action from executive session?
I'm even older than that.
None. Okay, let's recall one item, because it has been noticed that item 16, discuss take action on ratifying grant from juvenile court. Judge Peeler asked for the ratification. He did not ask to access it. He has been awarded the grant since the agenda. Therefore, we ought to get him in a position where he can use his grant. So is there a motion on item 16?
If I may, Judge?
Sure.
I know that Judge Peeler indicated to you that they had already received the award. He did say he wanted to ratify, but the court didn't clear up was it ratifying the application process or ratifying acceptance of the award? So since that wasn't specified, I guess we need specifics on that motion.
Okay.
So I think it would be a ratification of applying for it along with acceptance of the grant. Does that sound correct?
All right. So number 16 is reopened for discussion to add something that he forgot. And that is ratifying the application and acceptance, so they can accept the monies.
Yes, sir.
and use them. Any discussion or motion?
I would make the motion that we ratify the application of the grant, ratify the donation of the grant, and
Accept the grant.
acceptance of the award.
There you go.
Okay? Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, then he can do both. The only thing left is here's the corrected tax order. You need each to sign it. And Karen?
Can do it.
Randy had an appointment. He left, but if you'll contact him, get his signature. Okay? All right, is there any other business coming before the court today? Hearing none, is there a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Motion and second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. We're adjourned. 12:04.